Welcome, everyone, to Respawn Empire, episode 135. That's 135 in Spanish.
Was that? You said cinco
now.
before? Okay.
Yeah, it's 25, 35. That's it.
Yeah.
Y cien. We are the Kickcast Irreverent Gaming Podcast where four lifelong friends gather to talk about video games. I'm Chad, Michael Innes. That's Holden, Christopher Adams.
Hi. That's my full
And
name.
we have with us today special guest, Dusty we've already said Eclair. E-Trade Hill.
Yes, that's me, Dusty E-Trade Hill. I'm here to finance all your shit, probably. But mostly talk about Pokemon.
Dusty, thank you for joining us. You are here. You are also a host of your own show. Go ahead and plug your content real quick. Let other people know where to find you.
Oh, yeah. I currently run Prize Count, the podcast where you get all your Pokemon all in one place. It's currently been on hiatus because I'm currently doing retail hell and going to school, so I haven't had time to do anything in 2 odd months. But once this semester's over, it'll be back on track. But it's a Pokemon podcast. I talk about Pokemon, sometimes Digimon, but mostly Pokemon.
Hot. That's
I
hot.
feel you, by the way. I'm in school as well. I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
This
It's a
is
lot.
honestly, I also feel you because I spent so much of my life there. And now I have this corporate job and we have like all of Thanksgiving and like 2 weeks at Christmas. I'm like, what the fuck do I do with my life now? Also, how does anything get done at corporations in the months of November and December? Because there's really only like 3 weeks of total work.
It doesn't.
You're right. It absolutely doesn't. And that's why everyone freaks out because we're like, shit, we only have a week and a half left to get everything done for the year. Anyway, and the fourth person is you, the listener, and that's why we love you. You're a lifelong friend. Welcome to the show. We like to start each show, if we have a guest on, with a segment called Read the Instruction Manual. It's a callback to those days when you would get a game, and before you could play it on your way home in the back of the car while you were sipping on a juice box, kicking your shoes off on the floor, screaming at mom, and then mom wrecks the car and it's all your fault. But it doesn't matter because you were happy, dying happy, doing what you love to do, reading the instruction manual for your game. That's what this all harkens back to. Lots of dead kids reading instruction booklets.
Man, memories.
Honestly, they didn't even know how to read at that age. They were just looking at the pictures.
Yeah, that's fair. When I got the Pokemon ones back in the day, I was like, who the fuck is that?
Yep. Oh, this one has stickers in it? Fuck yeah. Anyway, so we have 3 interview questions for you, followed by a 10-item video game word association. We're going to start our interview questions. They're not terribly difficult, but I'm saying that up front, and now you're going to be self-conscious if you have to think about one of them, and now I'm sorry that I even put that in your head. Question number 1.
Man.
Do you remember Anthem?
God, I knew that was coming and I still laughed.
It's because I threw a curveball in there. You were expecting that at 2.5, but this was first one today.
I barely remember Anthem. I do remember that I currently work at a game store. We have a sealed copy of the Day 1 edition still. So,
Oh, really?
so that's what I remember.
100%
That's going to be valuable
honesty,
one day.
I really want to play Anthem. But I know it's going to go either free to play or Xbox Game Pass so soon but it looks like it plays well. And
I mean,
after
now.
this Destiny kick, I kind of want to just jump in. But anyway.
Mhm.
Question real number 1. Without mentioning video games, describe yourself.
Okay, I am the biggest nerd you know, both figuratively and literally.
I
I
like to imagine you're the Hagrid of nerds.
you're a gamer, Harry. I have too many hobbies, not enough time. I play a lot of Pokemon TCG, which is not a video game. A lot of tabletop RPGs. I'm an amateur DM sometimes, amateur podcaster when I have the time. Besides the video game stuff, I'm pretty boring. Besides that, it's mostly work, school, and play games when I can.
That's the life. That is the American dream.
Ugh,
Go to
fuck.
work, also go to school, and try to make yourself happy in between.
You know what? That is the American dream now.
Question number 2. Tell us about your history with Pokemon.
Oh fuck, man. So I didn't start Pokemon with Red and Blue. I actually started with Gold and Silver.
Yep.
But I've been watching the show since like it fucking came out. And I mean, it pretty much started with that. The show, I got Gold and Silver, for Christmas one year with like the teal Game Boy Color.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
both of them?
Yeah, and I've been playing ever since then. When I actually first started playing, I actually had a PlayStation before I had a Game Boy Color. So when I started playing Pokemon games, it's like, how the fuck do I save? I don't have a memory card. So I'm pretty sure I started Pokemon Silver like 10 times over until I was like, you know what, let's try saving. And then it fucking worked. I'm like, oh, I'm a fucking idiot.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
But yeah, I've been playing like every iteration since then. I haven't watched the show in probably like 10 odd years because I don't have time to watch anything. But I also play the trading card game and collect them. I have too many Pokemon collectibles in my house. My partner is telling me to make my own space for it, and I can't. So there's that.
Your space is my space.
No one uses my space.
Ah, I see what you did there. Justin Timberlake brought it. Yep.
Okay.
He bought MySpace.
Did he?
Yeah, Justin Timberlake owns MySpace.
Why?
Wait, really? He does? I had no idea.
Yeah, he bought it like 8 years ago.
Okay.
I had no idea.
So
I thought,
so he could be in the movie? No, he was in the Facebook movie, not
He
the
was in the
MySpace
Facebook
movie.
yeah. But apparently
That's
MySpace
around
is
the-
just
that
all
was
about
around the
music
same-
now.
but that's would be around the same time that he was in the Facebook movies when he bought MySpace. It's actually really funny.
It was all part of the plan.
Our final question. Tell me about someone who truly inspires you.
Oh shit. Okay, so right off the top of my head, I'll have to say I listen to a lot of music. One of the artists, his name is George Watsky. He does kind of like, I call it like alternative hip hop and rap stuff. It's rap but weird. But I've been following him since he started making music in 2008, and he's always been super inspirational. He does a lot of spoken word, and his music has always been like what he wants to do, and it's always been like the message is like, it doesn't fucking matter what other people tell you, just do what you want to do because that's what's going to make you happy.
Amen. What's his name
Yeah,
again?
so Watsky, Watsky.
Watsky. Rap but weird.
He's a white Jewish rapper, so there's that.
All right.
Take what you will from that.
Awesome. I learned about someone new today. All right. Last part of this instruction manual is a video game word association. I'm going to not yell out. Well, maybe I might shout them. Who knows? I'm going to yell out 10 words that are associated with video games, and then I just want you to come say the very first thing that comes to mind as quickly as possible. Are you ready?
All right. Yes.
First one. Online pass.
Xbox.
Second one. Extension cable.
Guitar Hero.
Third one. Toys to life.
Toys to Life?
Yeah.
McDonald's?
All right. Retroactively looking back on it, Toys to Life is the name of the genre, like Disney Infinity and Skylanders, where you take the toys, put them on a portal, and they end up in the game. It's okay. McDonald's is totally...
I never gave a fuck about those games, so.
Yep, me neither. Except for...
No
my
one did.
little
That's not really
Squirtle
rhyme
amiibo
anymore.
here, so.
Well.
Number 4. Let's play.
Achievement Hunter.
Number 5. Cartridge.
Game Boy Emerald. Wait, Game Boy Pokemon Emerald. Game Boy Emerald.
Game
that
Boy
too.
Emerald. It's the Irish version.
Yes.
Number whatever the fuck we're on. DLC.
Again, Guitar Hero.
All right. Number 7. Sega.
Sega.
Fun fact about that: did you know that the audio for that Sega it took up
Oh.
1/16 of the original Sonic cartridge was just that audio sample?
Yes, I know that random ass fact. There was also, man, there's a bunch of random, like, really famous people that did that line, I think. Sega voice. I'll look it up later, but I remember, like, it's people that you wouldn't have expected to say that line.
Oh, that's cool.
I
Number
just love
8,
it. It's
1/16, yeah, of the entire cartridge was filled with that sound.
That's just a dumb executive decision. Like some arrogant executives, like I need to have my placement on this cartridge. I'm taking up 1/16 of it with this dumb logo.
Water levels.
Zelda. Even though I haven't played that water level, that's all I hear about water levels.
They all suck, no matter what. Number 9, character creator.
Tony Hawk, American Wasteland.
Ooh, good choice. And number 10, generic gruff white guy on box art.
There's not enough Pokemon in this game.
Has Pokemon box art ever featured the Pokemon trainer on the front of it?
I'm
I'm trying to remember what Let's Go looks like. I figure that might be the only one.
No,
No,
it's still
let's
just
go-
Pikachu and Eevee are just
Yeah.
dominantly on the cover.
I mean, if you want to be technical, if you want to talk about Mystery Dungeon, you are the Pokemon, so that is trainer.
Okay. I like the way you think. Well, that's it for our instruction manual. Read the Dust E-Trade Hill instruction manual segment. We're going to jump into our show. We've got a ton to talk about, namely our impressions on Star Wars and Pokemon. Strange things going on at Bethesda, buying shit, Sonic trailer. But first, we're going to start out by talking about playtime, what we played this week. And I'm going to start with Dusty.
Hi, that's me. Again. Well, besides the obvious of Pokemon, I had to play something earlier in the week. Well, before it came out, I recently switched to the Switch Lite, so I re-downloaded all my games on here.
Mm-hmm.
I restarted all my save progress for Enter the Gungeon.
Was that out of necessity because it doesn't use cloud saves, or just for fun?
For fun, because I've literally unlocked everything in that game after 450 hours.
Wow.
So I just started again, and it's still really fun. So I've been playing that, and Binding of Isaac, which is like the roguelite game.
Right.
Those roguelites and Pokemon games take up all my time right now. So it was those two, and then I've sunk in about maybe 23 hours into Pokemon Shield. So
Whoa, already? Well, I guess it's been like 3 days, right?
yeah, I got out of work at 10. As soon as I got home, put that shit in the game, and been playing since.
Awesome. I know when Apple Arcade came out, you asked us to play Exit the Gungeon. I know I never got around to it. Holden, did you get around to it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't played
that's-
Enter the Gungeon, so I didn't really have a good like gauge of kind of how it falls down with that. But it was a good game.
Dustin, did you ever get a chance to ever get hands-on with it?
No, I don't have any Apple things besides Red Delicious in my house.
The shittiest kind of apple.
Those are good apples.
No, Red Delicious apples suck.
They're not great. They're good for like baking shit with them though. So
I just feel like Red Delicious apples are always the ones you eat. They don't taste very good, and then the skin is basically like eating wax paper.
well, because it's just wax all over the thing, so it doesn't look like shit when you buy it.
It's gross. It's disgusting.
See, Granny Smith, that's the worst apple because it's sour and just. Ugh.
No, Granny Smiths are
No.
pretty good. But you got to go with the Fuji apple or the Pink Lady apple.
Honeycrisp.
Honeycrisp are good.
Honeycrisp is good.
I like a nice mealy apple.
I got these Koru apples as well that we got from a local bougie market. Those are pretty good.
Oh, I've never heard of a Koru apple.
Neither did I till my partner brought it home, but hey.
It sounds
tastes
like
good.
something you would find in Pokemon, actually.
Yeah,
There is
Koru.
an apple Pokemon that
There
I
is.
found.
I've
Yeah.
been looking for that motherfucker.
Yeah, now
Yeah,
there is.
Oh, in the
Is it
in
a
the
new? It's new this generation. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's a fucking
Okay.
apple pie dragon.
Yeah.
Apple Pie Dragon?
Yes.
What?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kiero!
This is why you should have been playing Pokemon and not Star Wars.
Oh my
Yeah, come
god.
on.
Good segue. I played a few things. I got all the way to the beginning of chapter 3 in Death Stranding. Which the end of chapter 2, that fight that you have there, soup's cool. And then Dallas actually PlayStation messaged me right afterwards, like, hey, can you just send me whatever the last 15 minutes of you playing this game was? And I was like, it's kind of not indicative of the rest of the game so far because it's a battle of sorts. And it's also super
Yeah.
spoilery. And he's like, fine. Just send me a video of you hiking or whatever next. But I never got around to playing any more of it. That's going to be a game that's going to be hard for me to continue as we have the rest of the year unfolding with vacations and other games and shit. But I'm
And
gonna
just
try.
desire to go back to play that game.
I actually do. I have a desire because I'm on chapter 3 now, and I've heard that like after chapter 3 everything gets crazy good. So I do have a desire to go back to it. I just don't know how I'm going to because Destiny 2 is eating my life. We played some more of that this
Valid.
week. If you want to play along with us, patreon.com/respawnaimfire. You can play $1 or above, become a lifelong friend, and play with us on Thursday nights. We played Destiny 2 this time. Had some fun doing some Nightfall strikes and whatever else the hell we did. That game is
Gambit.
so good. We did some Gambit.
It's really good. Yeah.
Gambit's fun. I just like playing that game so much.
Man,
Anything?
I haven't.
Go ahead, Dusty.
No, it's like I haven't been able to play that game so long. I loved Destiny 1. I picked up Destiny 2 literally opening night. Ran through the campaign with my cousins, but like because I work so often and actually at my new place I don't have a TV. I haven't picked up my PlayStation in 6 months or something.
But remember, with PSVR, you don't need a TV.
Yeah, I just don't want to freak out my
But you got to
partner.
buy
which
You also
I
got to
mean,
buy
I-
a PSVR.
Actually, I have one.
Boom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't want to freak out my partner just playing on the bed, laying down, and she opens the door and it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh man, yeah, that game's great. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I played a little bit of Pokemon Sword that we'll talk about later, but then I also want to talk about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is where I sunk the most of my video game time this week. I've put about 7 or 8 hours into it. I have explored 3 planets. I just got off the 3rd planet. I'm not going to like spoiler like it's in the story anywhere that I am, but Holden, you played a little bit of it as well, right?
I played an hour and a half today. Pokemon was most of my time. So you have the
Gotcha.
inverse.
And Dusty, I assume you've not played any of it since you don't want to freak out your partner with the PSVR on your head.
That and also, it's all been Pokemon. I mean, how could it not be Pokemon?
APAT, all Pokemon all the time. APAT.
Exactly.
I wanted to give my impressions of this game. I went into it way too hype. I went into this game way too hype, and I've kind of spoiled it for myself. I was so excited based on us playing Titanfall for the first time this year, us playing Apex for the first time this year, and I was like, holy shit, Respawn can do no wrong. Plus, it's Star Wars, single player only. It's going to be amazing. And it's not that it's not it's great. It's just not like in my head, this could dethrone everything else for Game of the Year. That's what I was heading into it with. And it's fun. It is really fun. It's great, but there are so many like technical hiccups and things like that in this game that I've come out less enamored with it than I was before it actually came out. Before it came out, I was like, yeah, this game is awesome. It's going to be great. I'm having technical hiccups left and right. My largest one is with slowdown and the game being really framey. And I'm playing on a PS4 Pro. And I was originally on like resolution mode. I was like, it's a little framey. Oddly enough, it doesn't get framey in battles for me, but it's only in places where like there's a lot of grass and maybe like 2 worms. And I was like, that's it. So I'm like, I'll switch it to performance mode. Drops it down to 1080p. Having the same exact amount of frame rate issues in performance mode. So I'm like, well, fuck it. Might as well go on to 4K. Make it look pretty. But I'm also having trouble with like geometry of the world, not actually landing on things that I'm supposed to be landing on, kind of clipping into they have different things you can cut down, like bamboo and wires and things growing out of the ground. And like getting stuck on those a lot. But in general, the game's combat is really what's saving it for me right now. I've heard that like after 10 to 15 hours of the game, it gets amazing story-wise. But right now, what's really keeping me in it is the combat, because it's a mix of like Dark Souls Light and God of War's really thoughtful, purposeful combat from the 2018 God of War. So I'm finding myself like going into scenarios of like 4 or 5 stormtroopers, and I'm like thinking about, okay, how am I going to take out this guy? Which of these am I going to take out first? I'm going to deflect a couple shots with my lightsaber, and then I'm going to slow this guy down so I can take him out while the big giant whatever the fuck is going to come after me later. So I'm like purposefully thinking about these things. It's also one of these games where if you just run and start hacking and slashing, you're going to get destroyed right off the bat too.
Dang. I've seen a lot of like short clips of stuff in gameplay. The game, like the actual fighting looks really cool, but I think I've only seen gameplay of people who are really good at the game.
Yeah, it's kind of Sekiro light as well. Like there's parrying is a big thing in this game where you have to parry people's attacks, and then that opens them up for another attack. They glow red when they're about to do something unblockable, just like in Sekiro as well. But it's not as hard as Sekiro, and you can adjust the difficulty as well. I'm playing on Jedi Master, which is like one below the hardest difficulty, because I feel like it does give you that little bit of challenge the challenge and risk and reward that I like from those games so much. But I'm enjoying it. The combat is super smooth. I like it a lot. The story, I realized about 6 hours into it, I actually had a thought like, oh, what am I doing in this game? And I tried to think back on it, and I'm like, I don't know. I found a droid. There's a girl named Seer that I'm doing something for, and like trying to find some people. And that's about all I knew. And I'm like, I wonder if the story gets better or more significant, or am I just missing it? Or is it something that I just don't care about enough, so I'm not retaining it? So I'm not super sold on the story, I guess, because I obviously can't even just remember what it is that I'm playing. But I kind of get the general gist of it. I'm a Jedi after Order 66. I was in hiding for a long time. Now I'm just kind of rediscovering my powers a bit. And I'm looking for other people who do the same, I guess. But kinda all in all, that's it. It has a mix of a bunch of games. Like I've mentioned, Dark Souls and God of War are kind of like analogs for me for the combat. The exploration is very much like it has a Bloodborne feel to it, with like the shortcuts that you unlock to different areas of the world as well. And then the traversal, I feel like, is Uncharted, but not as good as Uncharted. Like the jumping and the climbing. There's the stupidest thing in this entire game is in order to climb on things, you have to jump to it and then just tap the left trigger to tell it, I want to hold this.
But not hold it down.
No, you don't have to
hold it down. You can let go of it.
Yeah, I finally, like, after about 30 minutes of holding it down, I'm like, I wonder if I have to hold this. And I found something that was above, like, another safe piece of ground. I was like, no, turns out you only have to tap it.
There are some things you do not have to hit the trigger, though, for. You can just jump to it, and you grab onto it immediately.
Yeah.
Or you don't always have to do it.
If you're jumping
weird.
from climbable thing to climbable thing, apparently sometimes you have to and sometimes you don't. It's so stupid. Like, obviously I'm jumping to this grate. I want to hold on to it.
That sounds too complicated.
But then there's also like the same rope swinging mechanics you're familiar with from Uncharted and Tomb Raider and a bunch of other things that just, again, aren't as good. They don't feel as precise. I have no idea where I'm going to be landing when I jump off of these things. I also feel like in swinging from a rope and then jumping onto a grabbable wall, in Uncharted or Tomb Raider, I feel like when you do that in those games, there's a little bit of like magnetism that will pull your character to that wall because it knows this is where you're going, obviously, so we're going to let you go there. Whereas in this game, I was swinging on a rope, and it allowed my character to go to like 6 inches too high on that, and then he couldn't grab on, and he fell to the ground and died. I was like, come on. Just pull me to it.
It feels heavier than like an Uncharted. Uncharted kind of has this like loose, kind of light feel to it as well, and this game is very, very heavy, and that surprised me because Titanfall, I remember being a little bit looser. Like when you're doing wall runs, for example, it's very fast and you feel very agile. Whereas this, there's heft to it. You can't quite wall run as far as you could in Titanfall. It's just everything has a heavier weight to it.
Yeah, I feel like you're a little bit more grounded, I feel like, in this one.
Yeah.
And I get it because in Titanfall you're wearing an exosuit and it has like jetpacks and shit like that on it. And in this one you're a Jedi running on a wall. But it doesn't feel as smooth or as slick as it does in Respawn's other games.
Yeah, I've felt a little bit of that as well in terms of the controls not being quite where I thought they would be, considering where we were coming from a Titanfall
Exactly.
2. But I think like once I kind of figured, okay, it feels heavier, it's just a different kind of weight, so like you said, it's more grounded. I started to get more of a feel for it. But I'm also only an hour and a half in, so I haven't really done any complicated platforming quite yet, where I feel like I would be suffering. So I don't really know how that's going to evolve for me.
Things I mean, do enjoy about this game, I enjoy some of the platforming puzzles. I feel like they're clever enough to be like, make you sit there and think, how am I going to get to this chest or this blah blah blah, and you have to think and like, I have all of the powers I need to get to it, but I just got to figure out how to do it. But they're also not frustrating enough to be like, fuck it, I'm going to bang my head against the wall. I enjoy that. I enjoy a lot of the powers so far that I'm unlocking are like actually useful in combat, and I can see some noticeable, like I can actually do cool things that I wasn't able to do before that are useful rather than just unlocking shit that I never use. The lightsaber. Are you customizing your lightsaber at all?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
spent a lot of time on that.
Lightsabers?
That was pretty great. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So it's actually, it reminds me a lot of, because Ted and I are going to go to Galaxy's Edge next year, and I was looking at a video of how to make a lightsaber, because you can do that there. It's actually very similar. You kind of just choose like a different section of the lightsaber you want to rotate out to something else based on parts you find around the world, and you can make it really look like something you haven't seen before in Star Wars, and it is awesome. You can even change the color of it.
Orange for me. Orange all the way. It was a pre-order
sounds-
bonus for it, but it looks so dope, especially since your character's a ginger. Complements it very well.
I'm just going green because I'm playing Jedi Master. Feels right to
Oh, sure.
use green.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fuck, now I want to play this.
I was a little upset in the first few hours that like I felt like I was just fighting a bunch of like weird dogs and worms and shit like that. I was like, this doesn't feel really cool as a Jedi. But then as I've gotten towards the last like hour or two of the gameplay that I've been in, you are fighting a lot more Star Wars inspired things where you're fighting the stormtroopers a lot more. You're fighting I don't want to spoil it. Like you're fighting Star Wars stuff, and it makes you actually feel cool. And I also like that the first time I fight something big in Star Wars lore, it was like, oh fuck, how the hell am I going to do this? And I'm dying a lot. And then that thing pops up again like 3 hours later, and I took it out as if it were like a regular enemy. And I'm like, yeah, I can tell in 3 hours I've gotten a lot more powerful, and I can feel it in my balls. So I'm having a good time with it, and I can't wait to finish it. Lord knows when I'll have time to do it.
I'm really enjoying at least the hour and a half that I played so far. I mean, it's because the opening section is really great.
Yeah, the opening
where
section is fun.
You're in a. Actually, I'm not gonna say what it is, but it's a cool area, and I kind of saw it and went, "Oh man, we haven't seen that in Star Wars before." At least I don't think we've seen it in Star Wars before. And it's one of those things like, of course, this exists in Star Wars. It totally fits. It's very cool. It makes for a good level. I liked how the lightsaber kind of battle you have early on to kind of teach the mechanic. The enemy you're fighting against, again, I'm trying to be very, very vague here. People who don't want any spoilers. That was a great moment. It feels super Star Wars. Everything about the environments, just none of it feels like it's a sci-fi story. It feels specifically like it's a Star Wars story, which I'm very happy about. That's one thing where I think it's easier to make a 2-hour movie feel like Star Wars because it's a 2-hour movie, whereas this, I'm like, the environments, the lighting, everything, the characters you're talking to, they all get that aesthetic down perfectly.
Yeah.
So I'm super on board, and that's kind of how the early stuff, at least, because it's not too much of the first hour and a half of the game, I would say. So it's kind of like the big impression I got from it is it feels really good. But it's interesting you were saying you had a lot of technical problems. I've had no problems at all. It's been super silky smooth for me.
You've had no frame rate issues?
No frame rate issues at all. And I've actually heard this from a few people that sometimes, and this sounds weird, I haven't double checked this, but I've just kind of heard it anecdotally, that some people feel like the PS4 Pro version might run not as well as the PS4 version.
I like
Which
frame
is
rate
really
issues
weird.
are just a thing that I've accepted in it now. Like it happens all the time. It happens maybe every 30 seconds. I'll get some kind of slowdown in the regular world, not while fighting though.
Yeah. And even technical stuff, I haven't noticed anything. Like, this is perfect. This is really great so far. I've had no problems. And I wonder if this is.
Oh,
No,
go
ahead,
ahead. Go
Dusty.
ahead.
That was a thought, basically.
Oh, it's like the PS4 Pro version. It's like it's too pretty, and the game is just like this is how it's supposed to run. Why are you complaining?
My theory would be like it's designed to run on a PS4. Developers think about PS4, and things are just different enough on PS4 Pro that they weren't able to accommodate as much. But I don't even think that would be true because the PS4 Pro is just a what do you call it? A overclocked version of a PS4, really.
And even on
It's the same
performance mode, like running at 1080p like a regular PS4, supposed to like really favor frame rate, and it was still having the same exact issues.
But I heard this of Control as well. So people were saying on PS4 Pro, Control is a hot mess. It's not as bad on PS4, and that seems really strange to me. It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. It shouldn't be that way, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard it anecdotally a few times now.
Drawing comparisons to Control, there are two things I want to point out how this game kind of sucks compared to it, or is the same. One is load times when you die in combat are absurdly long. Like, if you die fighting something, the time it takes for you to respawn back at your meditation point is, like, easily 35, 40 seconds. And it's enough time for me to get disconnected and look at Twitter and all that kind of stuff and kind of get taken out of the game. But weirdly enough, if you die because you fall off the edge of the world in combat, you respawn immediately. Or if you... And so I thought to myself, oh, maybe it's just having to reload the character, like the enemies, and that's what's taking so long. But no, because if you meditate, you can meditate, respawn them all, and unmeditate, and they're all back in like maybe 5 seconds. I have no idea why it takes so long if you die in combat.
You just need to get good.
You're right. Just get good.
Maybe a time it, but the loading screens don't feel for that slow to me. They've been, they've not been fast,
so
but
long
like
for me.
Interesting.
But then the second thing that I think Control does better than any other game I've ever seen is the collectibles and like reading the item descriptions and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, Control was amazing at it, but I find that it's 50-50 for me in Jedi's Fallen Order, where I'll pick something up and I'll go and it'll say press options or the touchpad or whatever it is to read the full description, and I go and it's like really interesting stuff, and then literally half the time I'll pick up something and Cal will say, oh man, it looks like there was a struggle here. And I read the description, it opens up the menu takes a second to load, and all it says about it, it looks like there was a struggle there. It's like, that's exactly what he just said out loud. Why did you even offer me the option to open up the menu? And
Nice.
literally half the collectibles are that way.
I haven't looked at any of the additional options for that, so I'm just like, whatever they said is probably enough. So it's good to hear that it actually is.
So what I've kind of defaulted to doing is just not reading anything until you get to the end of like a story mission, and it's like, we've added 15 things about all the characters you ran into, and you can go and I just read it all at once. That way you don't have to be fucking upset about. That's literally the same thing you just said out loud. But overall, it's not what I expected. I walked in expecting it to take everything and be my game of the year this year. But then I started thinking, I was like, no, this is going to be quite honestly, looking back at all the games this year, I'm going to have a tough time picking game of the year and ranking like even a top 5.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that right now too, and it's tough. It's really, really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it got like the highest rating of, I feel like, any game this year.
I feel like it did. It's like in
feel-
the high 80s, I think, on Metacritic right now.
Yeah,
More than
like, it got
Resident Evil
better.
2?
I feel like it's up there. More than Death Stranding, more than Pokemon, more than... I don't know. I don't know if it says more than Resident Evil 2, but it's gotten really good reviews.
Yeah.
I think you actually see a ranking of games per year on Metacritic. I'm just curious, in general, what the landscape looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Metacritic games.
Look it up. I'm kind of convinced,
All
though,
games.
that when we go to Galaxy's Edge, I'm going to get an orange lightsaber. It just looks so
Do it.
cool.
Is it like Shasta orange or Sunkissed orange?
It's like a 2-liter bottle of Sunkissed, but you stretch it out.
Nice.
Oh,
Number 1 game is Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition on Switch.
breaking news. Just tweeted by Jeff Keighley right now. Moving into the rest of our quest log. Tonight, Google Stadia has announced that its launch lineup for Tuesday has increased to 22 games from the 12 announced last week. You guys want to hear the list?
I'm sure it's going to not surprise me at all.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Attack on Titan Final Battle 2, Destiny 2, The Collection, Farming Simulator 2019.
Oh, shit.
I'm sold. I'm getting it day one.
Let's go.
Final Fantasy 15, Football Manager 2020, Grid 2019, Guilt with a Y, Just Dance 2020, Kine, Metro Exodus, Mortal Kombat 11, NBA 2K20, Rage 2, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Red Dead Redemption 2, Samurai Showdown, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Thumper, Tomb Raider 2013, Trials Rising, and Wolfenstein Youngblood.
Wow, they got some great exclusive games there.
Man, yeah, they added 10 games, and I honestly couldn't tell you which 10 they were because they were all so lackluster.
Metro Exodus is one of them, and then Football Manager, which I'm sure is a really huge game.
2020.
I'm sure that's a really big game.
I think Trials Rising is new on there because I actually really like the Trials games, but that still is a pretty hot pile of trash.
Yeah, Wolfenstein Youngblood I think is new on there too.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like good games, but also like that's what you're launching with. It's fine.
And also, again, reminder. Those games are probably going to be full price that you have to pay for versus all the Black Friday deals for everything else that you're going to find.
And if you're getting a Stadia on launch day, there's a good chance you already have those games. I would just say there's probably a good chance you already have them.
Yep. If you actually end up getting your Stadia on launch day. Anyway, let's stop shitting on Stadia because it's already shitting all over itself.
It's just so easy.
Naughty Dog.
You don't have to try. It just happens naturally.
Naughty Dog is hiring for mysterious The Last of Us Online project, says Brianna Reeves at PlayStation Lifestyle. Great. Mysterious. They're hiring. They told us they were going to do something multiplayer related, even if it might not be Last of Us.
Yeah. And I wanted to clarify here too. It's because there's a tweet saying we're hiring for something online related, and people said, "Well, they talked about Last of Us Part 2 online recently. It's probably that."
Right.
So they didn't officially say we're doing it for Last of Us Online, but it sounds like it's probably the Last of Us Online.
Yeah. Next up, Bethesda starts a new studio around the original Prey development team. From Matthew Olson at US Gamer. I just want to mention, I'm not going to go into detail about this because I don't wrap my head around it, but there was a conversation on Kind of Funny Games Daily this week where interesting thing about the development team behind the original Prey, which is Human Head Games, they were going to do Prey 2, but Bethesda actually took them to court and said, you can't do this. And then they became this other company, and then they tried to do it again, and ZeniMax said no. Anyway, whatever it is, it's interesting now that Bethesda is like, hey, original development team, let's be best friends. We're going to make a new studio, and we're going to give all of your people jobs at it.
Well, Human Heads approached Bethesda. They're like, hey, we're going to close the doors. Can you please help us out? And Bethesda did. It's actually kind of a sweet story.
After Bethesda said, no, you want to make that game? Nope. We're going to put a stop to it until you drown and you make something really awful. Like whatever. What did they make last year?
Fallout 76?
No. Not Bethesda. Human Head.
Oh, well.
They made something really awful. Fuck.
Oh, The Quiet Man.
Quiet Man. That's what it was. Yes.
Yeah.
The fucking Quiet Man?
Yep.
Well, consider the status of Bethesda right now. That was a good get. That was a good get.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bethesda's not doing great right now.
They're not doing The Quiet Man bad, to be fair, though.
That's true. And
Depending
then finally,
on who you're talking to, at least.
For Fetch Quest, sources say BioWare plans a complete overhaul for Anthem, from Jason Schreier at Kotaku. I recommend you go read this all in full because it's pretty interesting. But here are a couple of quotes, not quotes, but paraphrasing from it. There are many decisions that need to be made, right down to which changes to Anthem will be made. There's no definitive internal timeline or distribution plan. Also mentioned at the end, a new Mass Effect game is in early development. So Anthem might be getting something brand new. It might be getting the Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn treatment. It might get a follow-up that you pay for. They don't know, but they know they want to overhaul it, which is good.
I mean, I hope it gets a No Man's Sky revival.
Yeah.
Where it's it actually turns good.
I want that for it. I really do. I shit on that game so much, having never played it, but still wanting to play it.
We played the demo.
We did play the demo. That's right.
We didn't like the demo.
I liked it 95 times more than you did. But that's because you liked it 0.1%.
I hated it. Yeah, I hated it.
You hated it.
Didn't
And
like
you
it at
made
all.
sure I knew it the whole time. Moving on to a third-party quest log. You guys remember when Sonic looked like a terrifying humanoid monster?
Oh, fuck.
Well, now he looks like Sonic the Hedgehog again in our new official trailer. What are your guys' thoughts on this new trailer?
I am actually kind of looking forward to this now. I don't think it's going to be great, but I'm like, this looks like it's actually going to be kind of fun.
It looks so much better. Like, I'm gonna be upfront. I was gonna watch this shit anyways because of Jim Carrey, even if it was like hot trash. But now I'm like gonna actually watch it, and I'm probably gonna enjoy it now.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to watch it no matter what, but you're right. It looks so much better. It is amazing how much better I feel about this movie with just a couple of aesthetic changes about Sonic. It's so great.
Mm.
However, the movie still looks bad. None of the jokes landed for me. I didn't think it was funny at all. I thought it was super dumb, but I'm still going to go see it.
There was one joke that landed for me. It was not a great joke, but it still landed for me. It's when one of like the henchmen to Dr. Egg comes in. It's like, "Do you want a latte?" And Jim Carrey just yells, "Of course I want a latte. You make amazing lattes." I don't know why. It just made me laugh. It was so stupid.
Because it's Jim Carrey.
Exactly. Yeah, his delivery is great.
I mean, at least it didn't have the meow.
Oh God!
They
Yeah,
also
anymore.
cut. They also cut it before that
Meow.
line would have been.
Yeah.
Yes,
That little
which-
moment was there where they cut it out. I wonder how intentional that was.
I think very intentional.
I wonder how much work that took to make that happen.
To change
mean,
Sonic?
Yeah.
I'm sure a ton of work.
They've worked their asses off. That movie is supposed to come out like a week and a half ago.
Yeah. 3 months. They got 3 months of delay in there. Hope that was enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Microsoft Quest log, we had a huge Microsoft XO19. They had an Inside Xbox at the XO19 event. This comes from Will Tuttle at Xbox Wire. There's a whole article just called Everything We Announced at XO19. I got to be honest with you. Reading the notes of all of this and watching the trailers is like, damn, I'm really excited for Xbox over the next little bit here. And this is basically, it was, for me, like equivalent to an E3 press conference to them, as far as like the impact of the announcements that they made and how excited I was for what they have coming out. Lots of fun stuff.
I was going over the list, and a lot of the stuff looks really good, even stuff I don't really care about, like the flight simulator.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched some of the trailers, like Grounded looks like that's going to be really fun.
Yeah, so that's the Grounded's the new Obsidian game. It's
yeah.
the people who made Outer Worlds,
Yes.
right? The Outer
Yes,
Worlds.
Outer Worlds.
They're making Grounded, which basically looks like Honey, We Shrunk the Kids, and you're running around a backyard and you're super, super tiny, and there are ants and giant bugs and shit like that everywhere, and it looks cute. It looks cute. Coming next spring to Xbox Game Preview.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go through a couple other things. So, like, Rare. We finally saw what Rare's been working on since Sea of Thieves, and it's not what you want it to be. It's Everwild.
I was very confused by the trailer. I don't know what's going on.
It is, so it's a game called Everwild. To me, it looked like Breath of the Wild on a next-gen system, but we still don't have really an idea of what the gameplay is or anything. But, like, the art style to me reminded me a lot of Breath of the Wild. We'll see. Everybody in the world wants Rare to make Banjo-Kazooie 3 or anything interesting, but
for me, it felt like it had Breath of the Wild and like Fable vibes, but like with Spore characters in it.
oh yeah, sure. Oh, you remember Spore?
Barely.
Do you remember when Conker was a part of Spore?
No.
No.
No, wait. That wasn't Spore. What was their other thing that they made? Like the game creation thing.
The creature creator.
No, they made
It was
like
like a Spore creature creator.
No, fuck. What was it? Anyway,
I
Conker
have no
was like
idea.
a playable character. Conker. How do you spell Conker? C-O-N-K-E-R. Got it.
You see, okay. Is it C? Okay,
Xbox
okay, never mind.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a C, wouldn't it? Okay. Yeah, the trailers didn't do that much for me just because it's like these are early game reveal trailers where it's like, ooh, look, we're announcing it. It's here's the title. the graphics look great in all of them, but again, like Chad said, I don't know what the games are, so it's hard to get excited about them. But Grounded, just because Obsidian just made Outer Worlds, and I really like Outer Worlds so far, it's an RPG. It has like survival elements to it. I'm very curious to see what that is. And I'll have an Xbox at that point. So
the thing I was mentioning, not Spore, but Project Spark. There's a game.
I forgot about that completely.
Yeah.
That was the thing you could like use voice commands or some shit, right?
You could do all sorts of things no one wanted to do in it. They also announced the Seabound Soul and Fire DLC for Sea of Thieves. I mean, good for them for supporting that game. I'm glad that they're going to make that corpse look as pretty as they can.
I was gonna say, when's the last time they did anything for that game?
Right now. They just
I
announced
have
a new
no
DLC
idea.
pack. Yep.
Yeah, valid.
But then here are the most exciting things, I think. They had xCloud news, they had Game Pass news, and they had Black Friday news. Let's start with Black Friday. It's right around the corner. The corner, as some might say. They're going to have deals where you can get $150 off all Xbox One models. That's a significant discount, which means you can get the SAD edition for $150 total.
$100.
$100?
Yeah, because
it's $250.
Shut the fuck up.
That's actually.
I'm getting one for sure.
That's worth it. $100.
Yeah.
And then Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, $1 for the first 3 months. For $101, you get so much good shit. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, for $100, I may pick an Xbox up.
And then
that's stupid.
And then you get 50% off all Xbox games or Xbox Studio games.
Yeah, I mean they're included with Xbox Game Pass, but still, if you don't want to get,
if you wanted to own one, yeah.
Wireless controllers, $20 off, $10 off Xbox Design Lab controllers. If I needed another Xbox controller, I have 3, so I don't. Xbox Design Lab is so cool, though. I wish we had something like that for Joy-Cons and PS4.
I might do that. I might get an Xbox One SAT edition and then get the Xbox Design Lab controllers. Because I'm not going to buy a game with my Xbox, most likely, because I have a lot of interest in what's on Game Pass already. So I'm just going to do that. Why? I don't know. I want a dope-ass controller.
Ass controller.
Nice.
Speaking of Game Pass, there were 50 games that were shown off that are coming to Game Pass. And it is insane what it is. First of all, it's all of the Final Fantasy games, basically. Final Fantasy 7, 8, 8 Remastered, 9, 10, 10-2, 12, The Zodiac Age, 13, 13-2, Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 15. And while it's not yet coming to Game Pass, they announced that they're working on porting Final Fantasy 14 to Xbox as well. Like, that's insane that all of those are coming to Game Pass. You also get the Kingdom Hearts games as well. All of the prequel, not prequel, but the stuff before 3, because 3 is already out on it, coming to Xbox Game Pass in 2020 as well. Freaking A, man. And then on top of that, a lot of fantastic, like you already get Gears 5. You get all the Halo games. You get Devil May Cry 5 as part of it as well. Like, there are so many good things. Remnant from the Ashes is a game that looks super cool. It's like Dark Souls with guns that we all wanted to play. It's finally coming to Game Pass as well right now.
How many people can you play that game with, by the way? Do you know?
I think it's 3.
Okay.
But damn, Game Pass is such a good deal.
I'm super excited that the Halo Reach is coming to Master Chief Collection.
Yep, Halo Reach. Yeah. Fuck yeah, you guys. And that actually had a date to it, right? I don't remember what it was, but it was
December 3rd or something like that. Very early December.
Here's the thing about Xbox.
December 3rd.
Here's the thing about Xbox Game Pass. You can also get Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for $1 for 3 months. But then you can also convert, if you already have like a year's worth of just live gold, you can convert that to Ultimate for $1 as well, which is crazy.
Wow.
So if you have like, if you're somebody who buys like $30 when they're on sale and you buy like years at a time, that's a shit ton you can get. And then you can continuously take advantage of the reduced price shit throughout the year. Like, I don't know how many times I've gotten a month for $1. I also just they had a promotion where it was like, get 3 months of Ultimate, or 3 months of Game Pass for 1 month's price. Like, buy one, get 2 free. I was like, fuck, fine, I'll do that too. Like, how do they make money on this shit? They're giving it away for free. And then their consoles are $100. They're going to go under. Xbox is doomed.
Well, that's why they're pushing to get it on everything else. That's why they don't need to make Xboxes anymore.
Yep.
That's
Although
why they don't care about competing with Sony, as they so said.
there was a separate,
Allegedly.
separate
Allegedly,
Phil
yeah.
Spencer quote from an interview as well after this, where he said they don't want to make the same mistake they made this generation. They said this generation, you all saw, we launched at $100 more expensive, and we were the weaker console, and we're not going to make that mistake again this time. So, like, okay, so they actually still are making sure that's part of their strategy. But then xCloud news. Shit, I unplugged my headphones. Hold on.
Nice.
Good job, Chad.
All right, I'm back.
Super profesh.
Super profesh. Oh shit, the noise cancellation turned on. I'm gonna throw up. Okay, whew, we're good. 50 new titles are being added to the public preview. So if you're part of the preview program on Android, like whatever version, I think it's 6.0, you can be on it. And you used to have 3 titles. It was Halo and their fighter that they make that I can't remember the name of right now.
Killer Instinct.
And Gears. You could play those for free just as part of being part of the beta test, which is cool. Now there are 53 titles. For, again, a lot of cool stuff on that as well. You can still play it on Android. The beta is coming to Windows 10 platforms in 2020 as well. And this kind of solidifies their strategy going forward, is that they're just going to slowly open this up more and more. It's kind of in beta versus Google's like, we're going to launch it all at once broken, and then hopefully it fixes itself. Microsoft looks like xCloud is a thing that we're just testing. We're going to add more people to it. You're going to play some fun free games, and I kind of like that strategy a lot. But the most interesting thing is there was also the mention of Xbox Game Pass, including a game streaming option, leading me to believe that you can pay for $9.99 Game Pass and then also stream that wherever you want using xCloud technology without having to pay for extra xCloud prices. If that is true,
would be sick.
That's insane. To get xCloud and Game Pass all in one $10 thing. They also announced you can use any basically Bluetooth third-party controller, including DualShock 4s now. You literally don't have to own anything Microsoft related, and you can stream all of their first-party games in their catalog. It's insane.
And this will extend to next-gen games too, right? Like
Yes.
if I put a next-gen game in Game Pass, I can stream it to my Xbox One. And I think you called that earlier this year, Chad. I think you predicted
Was that one of my
that.
predictions?
I think that was, yeah.
Yeah, they did announce that Game Pass will kind of bridge both generations, which is so fucking insane.
When could I play Halo on my Switch? That's all I want to know.
Do you remember when we were, like, everyone in the industry was so sure, what was it, like 6 months ago? We were like, they were so sure that we were going to see Xbox Game Pass on Switch, and that was going to be announced.
Yeah. I was one of those people. I was excited, and now I'm sad.
I'll say this about that. That was interesting to me because I have a friend who I know has connections to Microsoft, and they confirmed that too. And they've been right about other things before ahead of time.
Ooh.
So I'm like, did that get delayed or did they just cancel it? Because like when he said it, I'm like, oh, it's got to be true then. So I don't know.
That was really, really a kick-ass XO19. I don't know how long it was. I'm glad I got to just watch the rundown and watch the trailer separately and watch that iPhone 11 Best Buy ad 95 times on IGN's website. It's the one where the person's hiding behind the snowman. Did you say you want an iPhone 11? But Holden had a leaky friend. There was also a leaker named Sabi on Twitter who's leaking shit about Breath of the Wild. This headline, jumping into our Nintendo Quest log, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel rumored to be planned for release in 2020. From Logan Moore at DualShockers. Sabi, S-A-B-I, on Twitter says, quote, I would tell you Breath of the Wild 2 is planned to release in 2020, but Zelda release dates are historically delayed, internally or publicly. LOL! He said that in all caps, so I had to scream it. And then a follow-up quote, This isn't speculation, just current plans. There's some context in here as well. Sabi has leaked a lot of things reliably in the past. There's been legal action against him for stuff that he's leaked for E3 2019, including from third parties like Bethesda and Ubisoft and Square Enix. He accurately nailed the Keanu Reeves involvement with Cyberpunk. Trustworthy source. However, my thought is this is a nothing tweet. Like, this is a tweet that no matter whether it comes out in 2020 or not, he can be like, yeah, I was right.
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on there, because there's also the part here that he was sued by Nintendo, and then as a result of him getting, well, not sued, he got a cease and desist letter. I put that in there wrong, but he got a cease and desist letter from Nintendo, and his response was, well, I won't talk about anything Nintendo publicly again, except with this tweet about Breath of the Wild that doesn't really say anything. There's no way Nintendo could actually sue me about it, because it's just saying it's their internal plan. It's not like leaking anything, really. It's
Right.
It's saying, hey, this number could change, but there's like a whiteboard in like the boardroom that has that date written on it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And by what he said, release in 2020, but Zelda release dates are historically delayed internally or publicly. With that, the only way he could be wrong is if it came out before the end of this year. So why even say it at all?
Yeah.
Because he can.
Oh, stupid.
I do think there is a chance it could come out in 2020. I don't think it's a great chance, but I think there's a possibility for it.
I think it's a smart move if they do, because I think that's how they're going to compete with next gen.
Oh,
By having a
absolutely.
big Zelda.
Yeah.
Like the PS5 looks really cool, but still can't play Zelda on it.
Yeah.
Case in point, end of story for them. Good.
it would
Jody.
make
You can keep talking, Desi. Sorry.
It would make sense for next year as well, because like besides first quarter of Animal Crossing, they don't really have anything planned for the rest of the year that they've told everyone. So if they have something like Zelda, that's that exactly what you said. They're going to compete with the next gen.
Yeah.
Unless they drop another Pokemon game, which there's also like people want a Gen 4 remake. It's like, oh, people are hinting about it. Let's do it next year, right? Please, Nintendo. Please.
Yep. It could be Sword, Shield, and Helmet. Helmet coming out next year.
Oh, Helmet's a good one. That's a good one.
It would probably be Helm, Sword, Shield, and Helmet.
No.
Yeah.
It'll be Pokemon.
That is a
Helmet.
good one.
Come on.
What a great
I like that.
transition into our main quest for today. Today, Pokemon Sword and Shield impression and online upsets. This comes actually from a subscriber interrogative from none other than Dusty E-Trade Hill.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's right. I sent something in.
That's right. You
Hi,
submitted
yeah.
an interrogative. Said at Respawn Empire on Twitter. # Ryan subscriber interrogative. If y'all are getting Pokemon Sword and Shield, I need your impressions and also to know what starter did you choose. Let's start with starters and then we'll get into impressions. What did you choose?
I chose Sobble.
100% Grookey here.
Oh, we have full representation. Score Bunny. I did Score Bunny.
You chose Score Bunny?
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Would you
Wow,
look at
nice.
that? I was going in being like, I'm probably going to pick Score Bunny. But before the launch of the game, I had assumed we would see what all of their final evolutions were so I could finally pick before I started. And then nothing. You know, Pokemon Red and Blue, you see Charizard and Blastoise on the fucking game box. So like, I got to know what these are going to evolve into. So there was that leak a couple of days before, basically the entire Pokedex and a bunch of shit. And I just went in and saw what the starters ended up as. And I was like, that one looks fucking creepy as hell, Sobble's evolution. Score Bunnies looks kind of boring. And then I was like, Grookey's looks dope as shit. And also, Grookey as a little baby is adorable as hell with his stupid little stick and his actual 5-fingered hands that look like they're in kitchen gloves. It's so adorable. So that's why I chose Grookey.
I will say the designs. I do like Grookey's design the most. But I relate to Sobble. I'm always like, I always need someone to hold me. It's great.
I also looked at what the evolutions turned into because that was important to me. I'm only going to have the first evolution for the first hour of the game, and then after that I won't see it again. And I just liked Score Bunny's final evolution, and I didn't even see what the second evolution was, and I've gotten it, and it looks awesome. Its name is Raboot. Come on,
Yes,
it's great.
I was surprised. I actually didn't look it up because I tried to go in this as blind as possible, which was I didn't really go in blind, but I didn't look at the starter evolutions. Just like people's speculations about them.
Mm-hmm.
But I just chose Sobble. I generally like water types. Like Squirtle was my boy, Gen 1.
Oh, hell yeah.
So let's do that. And my partner is going to get Grookey anyways. So later on we're going to trade and shit. But I'm really liking the Sobble final evolution, which his name is Inteleon, by the way. Is weird. It's I don't know how to feel about it, but I'm sticking with it because it's actually like really good.
Yeah, traditionally the grass starter Pokemon has always been like the wrong choice, just because grass type is not as useful as some of the other types throughout the game. But I couldn't not go with that dope ass giant gorilla with the drum at the end.
Yeah,
Very a quick, very important question about the starters.
Yeah.
yes.
Usually, your rival picks the opposite, your weakness. So,
Right? But this time you picked
Okay,
one
so
that
you-
was shitty against yours.
Yeah, I picked Scorbunny. I'm like, oh, he'll pick Sobel. No, he picked Grokey, and I'm like, I just trounce him every time. It's weird.
Yeah, I was surprised by it, but then also it shows that the champion, like Leon, the guy that everyone knows, he gets the other one.
Oh, that makes sense.
So you're gonna
okay.
face the opposite in pretty much the final battle.
Okay, that does make sense.
Which
Right.
I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
like going on, like earlier in the game, that can be difficult, but you're going to have a challenge at the end of the game because we're going to kick your ass.
It would be weird if like you had this huge challenge facing against the Sobel evolution the entire time. But you get to the final boss, it's like, yeah, just here's the monkey, the one that you're gonna have an easy time against.
Let's talk about impressions, and then we'll get into talking about the upsets and the controversy around it. I'm going to go first just because I've only played an hour and a half, and my impressions are going to be very short, and then I'm really curious about what you guys have to say.
Cool.
So I played an hour and a half. I just got to where you fight your rival, and you both see the little wishing star, and you get your wristband for the first time. That's where I just stopped.
Wow.
So I'm not very far into it. But I can tell you that I already am finding things about this game that I love compared to the other ones. For reference, I haven't really played much since I played Silver and Gold. I played Omega Ruby, and then I played a little bit of Sun and Moon. And then I played all the way through Let's Go. So I don't have some of these things might have been in Pokemon for a while, and I'm just ignorant to it, but I think they're cool now. But I'm so glad we're over random battles. I'm so glad we're over random encounters and we can see them on the screen.
Yeah.
I think that, in addition to actually seeing the Pokemon like on the overworld, like we've had that in almost every Pokemon game, is like seeing Pokemon around town or in people's homes and things like that. But being able to see them, like Butterfree is actually flying really high up top, and then there's also like somebody's Munchlax on their carpet and shit like that. Like those, I feel like are more immersive than ever in building this world. And I think world building in general is what I love so far about this game. Like it starts out introducing the thing about Dynamaxing, and the whole thing is set up against this whole gym challenge and these championships, and like that's how the game opens. And you see them, Charizard fucking gets giant huge, and then boom, cuts to you getting your first Pokemon. Like yes, gets me hyped right out the bat. But then also the world itself, I feel like they're able to fill out more for the first time. Being able to see that people's homes have like a little patio out next to them with chairs and a table, and they all sit around. And then there's also right next to that like a Pokemon battling mat where maybe on the weekends people sit outside and watch their kids battle Pokemon out right in their backyard. It's like that makes this world to me, those little things make this world to me feel so much more Pokemon and believable. And I'm excited to kind of see how everything develops across the Galar region, where every other Pokemon game that I've played, it's just the same. Oh, there's a Pokemon sitting on the carpet, and if you talk to it, it goes, Greet! And that's like the extent of it. But I'm excited. I'm in. I've got a lot of trips coming up in the next week and a half that I've got plane rides and things like that I can play it on. But I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say.
Hold on, why don't you go first? Because I have a lot to talk about.
Okay. I'm about 8 hours in, I think. I'm just before the third gym. You gauge like kind of where I am. I'm liking it a lot so far. I do think that I went into it with a higher expectation of what was going to change. I thought the wild area, for example, is going to be, at least so far, it has not been as big of a component as I thought it was going to be. So it still feels very much like previous Pokemon games in terms of the world outside of the wild area. But when I was in the outer area, the wild area, I explored it for hours. I think that's why it took me so long to get to the first gym, is because actually I put 10 hours in because it took me about 6.5 hours to get to the first gym, just because I was going around the wild area, having a total blast. And then I went back into the normal towns and the routes again, and I'm like, man, I feel like this should feel a little bit more open. Like they had wild sections between the towns as opposed to these routes. Because it did feel a little bit like Pokemon games are quote-unquote open world. It's really just paths you follow to get to the next town. And that's still kind of true here. I don't think it makes it a bad experience, however. I just think that I went into it expecting more from the wild area. And I shouldn't say wild area because I haven't explored too much of it, but like expecting more from how the world has changed. Because I think they kind of played that up a little bit, and I read into that a little bit more than I should have, I think. But that's really the only main criticism I have of it, because it's one of the best Pokemon experiences, hands down. It just in terms of how good it looks, how good all the models look. All the models look fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't care if we'll get into the whole if they're reused or not.
Yeah.
I have some thoughts there
gosh.
too, but like I don't, because they still look so good. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. And some of the animations aren't a little like lackluster. Again, it still feels like a Pokemon game to me. So like none of that stuff is like registering as out of place, because it still looks better and plays better than other Pokemon games have in the past. But I think Chad needs to the world building. The world feels super cool in terms of it feels like this like European countryside, as opposed to like
like
the whole
just a place in a town in like make-believe Paris or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's been really speaking to me a lot. I love the new Pokemon designs. There's a lot to really like about this game if you're into Pokemon, for sure. And some people are saying it's easier than other Pokemon games. I actually think it's a little harder when you're in the wild areas and fighting Pokemon in the wild.
Well, you can find like really powerful Pokemon that you can't even attack, basically, or do anything to, right?
You literally can't even catch them. They won't even let you catch them at all.
That's like a big mechanic. You can't catch them.
Oh, speaking of catching, I love that there's a dedicated button to just opening your Pokeballs in the battle.
Yep. It's so good.
So you don't have to go to your bag and then search for Pokeballs. Yep. Oh my god, it's so...
And it's improved too, because it used to be you just had the one button that was like the X button. I think on the 3DS versions like this, you have the X button to choose the last type of Pokeball you selected, but now you can choose the Pokeball and then choose what type of Pokeball you want to use. It's so refined. That's the thing too, is the combat is so refined from where it has been before. It's like they thought about every little like nitpick people have had about Pokemon games. Like, no, okay, we're just streamlining this. It's great now. It's awesome.
Yep.
It also just looks cool with like the split screen sections.
Like I really like, because in the combat they do things. They had this a little bit in Sun and Moon where like it would like go back and forth, but here it actually looks really good. Where like it'll be a split screen and then you'll see both Pokemon and like fighting each other, or like it'll pan around and it looks so good.
Yeah. I did want to point out something. Actually, my Switch ready for this. I think some of the translation, not a lot of it, most of the translation in terms of the language is fantastic, like it always is for Nintendo games, but I came across a few sentences that I'm like, I don't even know what they're trying to say. Have you found this to be the case too?
I found one, but I was like, oh wait, no, I just missed a word. But it totally made sense.
I kind of like seen it, but like also like I know a lot of British slang already just from like consuming British media. So
maybe that will help out here, because it's like I'm gonna read 3 of them to you. I took 3 screenshots. This is early on when Hop sees you in your room looking, or sitting on the couch looking at your phone, and he says, "Oh, that your flash new phone, Holden?"
He's like, "Hey, is that your cool new phone?"
Flash is just a word for cool.
Allegedly, I mean that's what I took from it.
Okay, and that was odd to me. Scorbunny is fire type. It's filled to bursting with fiery passion. I've never heard that filled to bursting before.
No, that one was weird.
That was weird. And then the last one is they're in the woods in early part of the game where it's like the foggy woods. Hop says, "How'd you manage to find your way here? Your pants with direction. You always get lost."
Your pants with direction.
Pants is like, it's like you're trash at something. You're also pants. I don't know why.
So that is a slang.
Yeah, it's like
British people are so weird.
I hadn't heard that. So first of all, he said translation. It's very strange. Okay, I'm glad I brought it up then. So it's just slang. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of which I follow a lot of like British YouTubers and Poketubers that have been playing this game. They're like saying, "This is fucking fantastic." They're like I'm loving this. It feels like I'm like down the street.
That's awesome. All right, Dusty, your turn. Take us on a ride. Give us your
Um,
impressions.
Okay, I want to say this is initial impression, but like as I said, I am literally 25 hours in this game. This game, I'm gonna say, is the best Pokemon game in years. I am absolutely loving every second of it. The the UI, the quality of life stuff they added, like the leveling Pokemon all at the same time.
Yes.
He was like, oh, like that. People were saying, oh, it's easy mode. It's only easy mode if you take your time and fight every fucking thing you see. Because I don't. I don't like to grind, and so I've gotten to points where like, oh, I'm like 10 levels lower than this trainer. I need to think about what I need to do now. But that like the catching mechanics, being able to just like choose stuff here. Like I noticed, like if you go to the title screen, if you just press X, you can just press R and it saves the game. Like you need to go to the save thing.
Cool.
The autosave function is
Mhm.
cool. Being able to open your boxes from wherever you are is really cool. The Pokemon design is fucking amazing. I like the Pokemon in this generation, like Gen 8. I really like all the Pokemon designs I've seen, except for Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime is really creepy.
I haven't seen him yet,
Oh,
but I know
God,
they
I've
changed
seen him,
Mr.
yeah.
Mime a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I saw it just today. I'm like, Mom, please pick me up. But the wild area is so cool. It's really like I think someone. I was talking to someone's like it must really feels like it would be a Pokemon trainer. He's going around and you see like in the background there's an Onyx. You're like, oh cool, an Onyx. You get there, it's like level 30 and you're level 8. I'm like, oh no, this is I'm gonna have a bad time. Which I also like that they gave you Pokédolls before you even enter the wild area, which that just this is an item that lets you escape.
Oh, okay.
Like, the story is really well done. I'm currently at the equivalent of the Elite Four right now, which I've seen people said they beat the whole game like in 9 hours.
Yeah,
I
there's
could
no
see
way.
if you're, I could see if you're skipping everything, but I love this world. Like I love exploring. I go to every town. I go to every house.
Quick question
Yes.
about Elite Four. So you said, and I don't want to get too if this is too spoiler heavy, but like, I one of the things I heard of people complaining about is there's no Elite Four equivalent. What is that?
So I mean, there is, but it's not like the same structure. So what what they've been saying that the Galar region Pokemon battles is like the main event,
Mhm.
and like you've like at the first gym's like okay, you go in and you're in the gym challenge. You're the league, so you're going through and facing this, and it's like you're just trying to get to the top of the league. Like you start at the bottom, you go up the ranks, and there's other trainers doing this as well. And so they really made gym battles like a big spectacle, and that's what like the Elite Four equivalent. Like you're pretty much like playing, and they even say this in the game. You're playing where literally the whole world is watching these matches right now.
This is
So
like in
it's
a
not
stadium
like
setting. Okay.
exactly. It's not like the Elite Four where you go in fight the four like trainers that's done there. Like strongest trainers, like you're trying to get to the champion, and I'm not going to say anymore because it's heavy spoiler territory. But
It sounds like it's still similar enough to Elite Four, though. You're still fighting a series of trainers in a row before you fight the champion, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why people are complaining about that. Then that is what the Elite Four is to a large
Dude,
extent.
People are complaining about everything, which
Because they literally just want the exact same game again, and then they're going to complain that it's the exact same game.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, fuck that shit. Like after this, like I want games like this from now on because, this region Galar, it feels so much more unique than to any other Pokemon game before this. It feels like an actual place. The way they talk, the way they like work with Pokemon and treat Pokemon in that world, and like not seeing everything from like Gen 2 and 1 and 3 and 5, whatever. It feels very unique, and that's like I love that.
Yeah.
And that's what I've always liked about Pokemon. They always try something different. Like Black and White was very different. Sun and Moon was really different as well.
Very
Sun and Moon
different,
wasn't
yeah.
great, but they did something different, and I really appreciate that about Game Freak. Uh, yeah, I could talk about this forever, but I'm loving this game.
Yeah.
It's the most fun I've had going into a Pokemon game, like since I don't know X and Y, which came out 6-7 years ago.
I love.
Wow.
Sorry, one last thing about the world building thing. I love that you wake up, not you wake up, but you go to your room, and it has like posters of all of the leagues, things like that, or the championship, the gym challenge, whatever it is on it, and then it has like 3 huge Pokemon posters of Charizard, and Champ, and Gengar, and it's like, and you go to explore it, and you like hit the button to read it, and it's like these are the most popular Pokemon in the Galar region, and I was like, that's so cool that like. First of all, Charizard, very early in the game, everyone's like, oh my god, Charizard's fucking awesome. It's Leon's greatest hand. Oh, Charizard's the best. Like, to see that the whole world champions around, like, they have mascots and teams that they root for. And it's such a cool world to be in.
Yeah, it's really cool. I will say also, like, how they handle the gyms in this game, I absolutely love it. Like, every gym is... It definitely feels like its own thing. Like from the previous ones.
Yeah.
Well, it's like they took the Trials idea from Sun and Moon, which was interesting, but it was such a huge departure from what a gym is that it felt kind of odd. And this is a great balance, I think, of what they were trying to do with the Trials while meshing it with the gym at the same time.
Yeah, that's like a very good way of putting it.
But I love it, though. I think it's really great so far.
I'm
It's I don't think it's... If you didn't like Pokemon before, you're still not going to like this. It's still a Pokemon game exactly as you expect a Pokemon game to be, but it's just, it is really fucking good so far. And a lot of the thing is just, because it's on Switch now, they can do a lot more with a lot more power. I mean, this isn't like going from a Wii U to a Switch. This is like going from a 3DS to a Switch. Like, that's a massive, massive jump. And they utilized it, like going to the whole, like how the world's so great. When you're walking in the wild area and you can see towering structures, that is cool to have in a Pokemon game.
I feel like there are 3 games I'm playing right now: Death Stranding, Jedi Fallen Order, and Pokemon Sword and Shield, where I am like at the cusp of where apparently the game gets really cool, but I'm not yet to that area in any of the 3 games.
I will say, like, it does take a long time to get to the first gym if you want to explore, because I didn't get to the first gym probably until like 5 hours in.
Wow.
Yeah, I was so over leveled for the first gym. It was crazy. I was a full 10 levels above the gym leader.
Oh man, I wasn't even there. I was just like looking around trying to find all the items. Like I was at like level 20. Spoilers. Sorry. You need to be level 20. There you go, Chad. You got some tips and tricks.
Thanks.
But I was there just because like I don't like go through everything. I wanted to explore. Like I explored all the level areas of the wild area up until like there's a point where like the Pokemon are all way too strong. Also, it's absolutely terrifying to see like, oh, there's a Machoke. Oh, the Machoke is chasing me. Oh no.
Yeah.
Please.
I love that when the Pokemon chase you around. That's why I was standing in place once because like, oh, it's a Pokemon game. It's very casual. I can just stand right here. Nothing will happen. And then 3 Pokemon charge me. And I'm like, I gotta run. Like, I can't get into a battle right now.
Even the Machops will like charge you. I will say there's a really cool mechanic. So now like you could whistle around wild Pokemon. And it'll perk some interest to them, so like they'll go towards you. Very early on, you can find a bunch of Yamper, which is the little corgi Pokemon.
Oh, I got one of those.
If you whistle a bunch of them though, they'll walk up towards you and they'll just like bark at you and like look like they want to play with you while like not actually attacking you. it's so like it makes the Pokemon like have all unique personalities, and I love it.
That's awesome.
It's good stuff so far.
So why do people hate it? Why are people upset?
Great question, Chad. Do you want to run through it?
I'm going to let you guys talk about it because I'm not familiar with enough of it.
So IGN article by Matt Kim and Casey DeFreitas had, I think, a really good breakdown of what's going on. And there was actually a separate story I want to talk about, too, that hasn't been getting as much discussion, not nearly as much as the controversy's been. And I think the other issue is a bigger deal. But I'll explain it all. So from the announcement Sword and Shield, smaller regional Pokedex, that has led to a lot of criticism from people who generally like to collect every single Pokemon from all the generations. But at the time, Game Freak responded by saying that those cuts were necessary because they're going to have higher quality graphics and animations because it's on the Switch, and they're able to achieve a lot of that now. And unlike in previous titles, Game Freak also had to make each character model from scratch. Where like they say, like going from X and Y to Sun and Moon, you can reuse some of the same character models because it's the same system. They had to build them from scratch for this game. That was the reasoning as to why they had to cut the Pokédex
800
down.
and something to now whatever it is.
It's
100,
It would have been
200.
like it would have been like 1,000 Pokemon in this game though.
Yeah,
If they kept it like that.
too much.
So that criticism, and this is kind of the story of how this criticism is built up over the marketing period. So the criticism grew a lot when there was this reveal of that Yamper Pokemon we were just talking about. It was like the corgi-looking Pokemon. And there's a tail whip animation they showed in the trailer, and it's very similar to tail whip animations that we've had in past games, and people were saying, well, this is low quality, and because this is the same, you are lying to us, Game Freak.
Oh my god. Like, what
And
did they want
then-
to do? They want the Yamper like put its ass in Pokemon's face?
So IGN, Matt Kim, and Casey DeFreitas, but they both recognized that there were some reused animations, and they said that they do notice that those outweigh new animations, but that this again is not new to Pokemon. Like all mainline games reuse assets and animations from previous games. You're talking about 400 Pokemon, even in the cut down Pokedex. It's still a lot of shit to deal with.
Yeah.
One of the ones that Matt and Casey disagreed with were criticisms of the game's length. They said that in order to play it in like 15 hours, you'd have to rush through everything. Most people were spending 40 to 45 hours with Sword and Shield in the office.
Yeah.
And then to go back to the whole reusing assets, Laura Miller is a 3D artist. She has some game development experience. On Twitter, she posted a thread just discussing the wireframe pictures, like side-by-side comparisons being used to kind of shit on this game. And she's saying that you could easily fake that. That is not something that is definitive proof that they reused the same wireframe. Let's talk about all of that stuff first, and then we'll talk about the second issue, because they're totally different things. Dusty, what's your take on these criticisms?
Pokemon fans are trash. That's the first take. But also, like, I remember looking at that thread, the wireframe one, and I was like, okay, the wireframe is the same, but it's like, it's weird. It's like it's the same Pokemon. So, of course,
Exactly.
the wireframe is similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the Bulbasaur, it's going to look like a fucking Bulbasaur. Like, okay, what the fuck do you want? Do you want it to be, like, fucking squiggly lines instead of straight lines?
Yeah, like Pikachu will always be Pikachu. Like they're not going to add a ribbon to the top of every single Pikachu's head just to change it.
Yeah, no, and so like a lot of these arguments are from entitled people that have probably never done anything but play a game. They don't know anything about the actual development about it, except like, you know, hot words like, oh, the frames and the wire frames and the stuff, and like I don't like it. But okay, but like just shut up.
Right. Anyone who's
It's
actually
like-
playing the game doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, because like, okay, one, the game looks fucking amazing. Two, like, the animations are gonna be simple. One, like, they talk about Yamper and the tail whip. Yamper's tail is like fucking tiny. What were you expecting from a fucking tail whip animation from a Pokemon that doesn't have a tail?
Gotta
So,
wiggle the butt.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what it does? It wiggles its butt.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I remember day before launch there was this whole thing on Twitter like Game Freak lied. That was a thing trending on Twitter. And it was all these people like talking about they reuse the animations. That wireframe thing came up in that thread of like it was in that trending hashtag, which is how I found it. But like reusing assets, because again, the Pokemon that are there, they're gonna look like the Pokemon they have in previous generations, just better. And it's like I could go on for hours calling like everything they've done like stupid, like their arguments, like the whole national decks. Like I actually, when that was announced, I had a whole episode of my podcast talking about like, well, yeah, if they had 1,000 Pokemon, each Pokemon animation, like they need a model for their battle animation. They need a model for the Gigantamax animation or Dynamax because every Pokemon can be Dynamaxed. They're not just gonna like expand that freaking model because it's gonna look like trash if they do that.
Yeah.
There's like the Pokemon camp thing. There's models for Pokemon running around in the wild. They need to at least do 5 of 10 not unique models for each Pokemon they make, and not to add like some Pokemon are gonna have exclusive moves that they need to design for those specific Pokemon. That's already allowed for 400 Pokemon. If they did it, the wild area wouldn't be there. There would be no wild area. It would be the same cut and paste. You're on a set route, and you're just going through things. If you want to play that, then fucking play red and blue. Just no, go back to your Game Boy.
Yeah, it's like there are aspects of it that like I kind of get, but like at the same time you have to consider what the game is. There's a lot of like, oh well, it's not Breath of the Wild. It doesn't have this vast open world like Breath of the Wild did. I'm like, yeah, but like that was the focus of the development of that game, was making that giant open world. They didn't like plop down some land and say, great, let's make the land on top of it. They make the game on top of the land. Like no, like making that environment was part of making the game to a huge degree. There's probably a lot of resources that went into just making Hyrule for that game. And in Pokemon, that heavy development is in balancing Pokemon and getting animations for all these different Pokemon. And like you said, in Gigantamax mode, in combat, when they're running around, like there's so much to consider. That's why, like, my criticism of like the world feels just like another Pokemon world of just roots and stuff. Yeah, but the reason for that is that that's not the main focus of their development. The main focus is, the Pokemon. And when it comes to things like the wireframe being evidence that they didn't make it from scratch, not really though, because the wireframe's only one portion of making the 3D model. And that's the part that you don't really need to remake, as we just said, Pikachu's Pikachu. They could have said we made it from scratch by taking the wireframe that was already perfectly good in Sun and Moon. It would be stupid to spend money making new wireframes and all this stuff. But they still clearly improved the assets on top of the wireframe. And that's where the from scratch kind of comes in. If you look at Pikachu, what it looks like in this game versus even, Let's Go, but also Sun and Moon, it's not the same model. It is different. And if it's using the same wireframe, it's regardless. It's like saying, well, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker still says Star Wars in the title, which means it's going to be the same movie. Like, okay, but there's like other parts of it too that are relevant. Like it's called Episode 9 Rise of Skywalker. It's not just Star Wars. Yeah, it's a really like frivolous argument on their part, I think, to say that these wireframes mean anything. It's kind of ridiculous. And then the animations, like, could they be... Do other games have better animations? Yes. But games don't usually have to have the number of animations that this game does. And that was kind of like hitting me as I'm playing it, is like, okay, yeah, the animations are not the greatest thing ever, but that's not the point. It's just like not like what the point of this game is.
Yeah, and I will say there's like some moves have new animations, and then when you're in like the giant mode, there is animations for those moves, and those animations look amazing.
Yeah, they're vastly different too. They're like for the equivalent move, they're not even the same animation.
Yeah, like the fire, there's a fire move that looks crazy. The grass move is really cool. There's a dart, like there's a specific one for every type, and then specific Pokemon have like special moves as well. That's different from all the other ones, and they look really good. I found a Pokemon like after I beat the 6th gym. There's a Pokemon I found in the wild. It has its own like special move, and it's one of the coolest animations I've seen in a Pokemon game ever. For one move, it's crazy. It's something I've never seen before ever, except for maybe the equivalent of a Z move from Sun and Moon, but it still looked way better because it's on a Switch, not a 3DS.
Man, you guys are going to make me want to play this game so bad.
That's the
and I'm already playing it.
Yeah, I don't get what the complaints are. I just don't like. I can kind of see where they come from the animations, but then I'm like, I lose sympathy when I realize how much else there is in this game.
Yeah, and then like going back to the Natdex thing. So yeah, there's 400 something Pokemon in this Pokedex.
Yeah.
So if you want to like talk about the most generally highly rated Pokemon game, it's Heart Gold and Soul Silver. That is by a long shot, agreed to be the best Pokemon game, that had 400 Pokemon in there. But
Well, these is garbage now.
Well, it didn't come out before all those other games, but then people like with Sun and Moon and X and Y, people still go back and play that, and they have to find it on a DS, and that game is still like $60 if you find it anywhere. And
that's the only reason I haven't bought it. I want that game so bad.
It's so good. And guess what? Like this game with the Pokedex and stuff, like having this Pokedex feels super unique and makes the region feel like, okay, yeah, you can only get these because you're in this area of the world.
Yeah.
They said they're going to be continuing this, so that means like the next game, there's going to be a bunch of Pokemon you can only get in that region. And you know what? That's going to be super unique.
Casey DeFree just made a really good point, too, on Nintendo Voice Chat. She also mentioned in the article we just referenced as well, where she said, like, when you play a Pokemon game, you don't get the whole National Pokedex immediately. There's a requirement. It usually involves beating either the entire game or a significant portion of it before you are able to access the remainder of the Pokemon. They usually have a subset of, like, 250 to 400 Pokemon you're able to get before the Elite Four. So this really isn't that much different. It doesn't really change your first playthrough of the game is what their point is. And I think it's a fantastic point. And I think, as well, there's a surprise when you do see Pokemon.
Yeah. No, like, when you see a Pokemon you didn't expect to see, or you see a new Pokemon, like, I ran into, like, a Wobbuffet. I ran into a Shuckle, which I was so excited about because I fucking love Shuckle. And it's like, oh, it's actually in this game? Fuck yeah. So I made sure I caught 3.
I knew it was in the game because you could buy a shirt with Shuckle on it from one of the shops, and I almost did.
I bought that shirt right off the bat. I wore that shirt for like the first 75% of the game. But I know people were saying because there's a Poliwag shirt. Poliwag's not in the game.
Oh, okay.
But also, like, there's a shirt of Pokemon. Yeah, people know what Poliwag is. It's just like it's not in this area of the world.
Yeah.
One of the big areas I think this criticism is coming from is that this is the first Pokemon game that costs $60. Every single Pokemon game has been $40. Yeah, it's $60.
Let's Go cost $60.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point. I forgot about Let's Go, but I guess I'm in terms of thinking about mainline Pokemon game.
Yeah, for mainline,
but I think, I think it's an expectation of people say, well, this is really just what was in a $40 game before, and we're getting quote unquote less of it, because it's the same animations being reused and the same character models and all this stuff. So I think that's kind of where a lot of it's coming from. But I think if anyone who's listening to this and hasn't played the game yet and is concerned about that, don't be concerned about it. Just play the game. You're not going to worry about it at all when you're playing it.
I mean, also, like, going back, if you go to any other Pokemon games, like even like Sun and Moon and Black and White 2, in the game, like, you could find in the wild only about 400 Pokemon anyways in the game. The only reason all those other Pokemon are in there because you could trade them, but you don't find them. So like this is not different than the other ones. You just can't trade them to this game.
Right. It's all about that accessing the Pokemon Bank or whatever the new thing. Have they launched a new thing yet?
Nope.
It's not out. Pokemon Home is supposed to launch sometime next year.
Gotcha.
One thing that what was I gonna say? I can't remember. Well, damn it.
You said there was another topic that
it wasn't related to that. It was before we got to that.
Well, speaking of Pokemon that are the same as other games but have different sprites, etc., how do I get my Let's Go Gigantamax Pikachu in this game? Because I've gotten the Gigantamax Meowth from ordering it early, and I've gotten the digital bonus of the Quick Balls. But how do I get the Pikachu?
It's when you get to the wild area, there you go via train station. There's 2 people in the train station that will give you either Pikachu or Eevee based off save data.
Okay, gotcha. I just haven't gotten there yet. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I haven't got the chance to actually Gigantamax them, but I mean I have Eevee because I got Eevee. I stopped using it because I'm trying to use all the Pokemon from this game.
Yeah.
Because I really want to see all the evolutions. Like my biggest complaint about the game is I can only have 6 Pokemon in my party.
Right. I can't power up enough of them to see everything.
Yeah, every time I catch new Pokemon, I was like, oh, what's this evolve into? What's that evolve into? I'm like, I just want to do them all. But like, I have a good team going. It's helping me throughout the game so far. So,
man, I do kind of miss those days where I was like, I was playing alongside like the Prima official strategy guide for Red, Blue, and Yellow, and I could like see all the Pokemon and the evolutions, everything like that at the same time as going through it. I'm like, oh man, I just caught a fucking Oddish. What does an Oddish turn into? A Vileplume. Ooh, I don't want that. Let's move on.
There's the strategy guides come out this week, I believe, the week of the 17th. I don't know when, but I do want. There's a hard one, a hard book cover, a hard book Pokemon strat. I can't talk, but I want that one. It looks really cool.
I don't know the last time I bought an actual physical book.
Yeah, IG and Wiki guides is like my go-to guide. Go. Yeah.
Yeah, but like Pokemon.
You're right. You sold me.
So the last little bit here of Pokemon controversy, and I think this one has more credence to it. No Pokemon Sword and Shield aren't deleting Nintendo Switch save files. So that's from Polygon, from Patricia Hernandez at Polygon. They said that some players online have claimed that there's a bug in Sword and Shield that has deleted all of their save data on their SD card. When the game autosaves, apparently at times it can crash. If your game crashes during an autosave, you can't open up any of your games that are on your SD card. You can't access the save data. That's what these people are claiming. However, there's a Pokemon hacker named Cerez M, which is SCIRESM. He has a different theory. He is a known Pokemon hacker, so he knows what he's talking about. And he's saying that the claim that your save data gets corrupted isn't true, but the contents of your SD card could have been corrupted from this, as long as your SD card is formatted exFAT. If it's exFAT32, it's fine. But the reason your save data is not compromised is because that's on the internal storage on the Switch, which is exFAT32. So that's why your save storage is fine. So really, if this happens to you, you just got to re-download your games again.
Oh, shit.
But you might lose your screenshots. So that's not great. If you're super concerned, you can turn off the autosave if you want to, but apparently it's not a very widespread thing. But I think that is worth mentioning.
Yeah, you sent this article. I looked at it. It's like I heard literally nothing about this.
Me neither.
Prior to like, but like I just haven't got my Switch. Like I don't even have an SD card there. I just play what's on there. Like it's mostly just like indie games and Pokemon. That's all I care about.
Then you're totally got nothing to worry about. Then
You
you're
fine, you fine, girl.
It's all Gucci.
I'm amazed this wasn't being talked about more though, because the other criticisms are very easily. When you think about it for a second, you realize there's really not that much to talk about. But this is a small thing that's not the biggest deal, but ripe for the internet just to grab it and run with it.
they're all like, what does it mean formatting? I only care about Pokemon. And all that
Are you
stuff.
calling me fat?
No, we're calling you
you're
exFAT.
exFAT. Yeah,
Yeah,
you were
exactly.
fat
Are you breaking
before,
up with
but you're no
me?
longer-
Because I'm
Sometimes.
fat? All right. Well, thank you for that rousing discussion around Sword and Shield. Now I just want to end this podcast so I can play Sword and Shield. But before we do, we have one more segment called Game on Game Show. The game on our gaming show where we play a game called Game On our game show, and we all play game. This week, our guest has brought a game. Dusty E-Trade Hill has brought a game called Pokemon or Prescription as our Game on Game show. And I'm going to turn the mic over to him figuratively because we all three have mics.
Yeah, so Pokemon Prescription is something that I've done on my podcast. Actually, one of other guests you have, Trevor Bettis.
Right,
he's been
Batatas.
on
Trevor
an
Batatas.
episode, Batatas. He's been on there, and we played with him. And it's because I work in a pharmacy. A lot of drug names I've noticed sound like Pokemon names, and then vice versa. So how this game works is that I'm going to give both of you two names. One of them will be a prescription, and you have to figure out which one is it.
Okay.
Because I also want to play Pokemon, we'll do 3 rounds of this. And then whoever gets it right, you are a big nerd. All right. So are both of y'all ready for this super exciting segment?
I feel like because Holden
I'm
has a
ready.
handicap, he should answer first. Because he knows very few Pokemon.
No.
I know a lot more because of Pokemon Go.
Yeah, literally, let's do that because otherwise we'll just go, yeah, what Chad said
Exactly.
pretty
Yeah.
good.
All right. So here we have the first 2 names. The first one is going to be Quillichew.
Can you
Quillichew is
say
the
that again?
Quillichew.
Okay. Can you use it
Can
in
you
a
use
sentence?
it in a sentence? Damn it, Chad.
Man, I love this Quillichew so much.
Okay. That could work for
That
drugs.
works for both. Yeah, it works for drugs and Pokemon. That's great.
The next one is going to be Gorbis. Gorbis. In the sentence, this Gorbis fucking sucks.
I'm gonna go with the first one. Sorry, the second one's a prescription. Gorbis is a prescription.
Gorbis is a prescription?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Chad?
I thought this was gonna be easier, but honestly, I'm fucking stumped. I'm gonna go with Gorbis is the Pokemon. I feel like there are already enough Chews: Pikachu, Pichu, Raichu.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm sticking with my answer though.
So, Holden, you said Gorbis is the prescription. Chad, Gorbis is the Pokemon?
Yep.
Gorbis is a Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
Gorbis is a Gen 3,
in your face.
weird eel-looking Pokemon. Quillichew is actually
Oh,
a brand
yeah. Gorbis comes out of Clamperl, right?
name. Exactly.
Yeah.
Quillichew is actually a specific brand name of Adderall.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and one that's not very common, but it's still like it's Adderall, pretty much. To go zoom.
All right.
All right, so one for Chad. So
It's gonna be
the
3-0, just so you guys know.
Well, we'll find out, right? All right. The next one is gonna be Blee. The next Blee is gonna be Florisil. This Florisil attacks so damn good. The other one is going to be Morlul. This Morlul was a pain in the ass to catch.
Morlul?
Morlul.
Okay.
And what was the name of the first one again?
The name of the first one was Florisil.
Florisil. It just sounds like a medication, but both of them do. I'm going to say this time Florisil. Florisil is the prescription drug.
Okay.
I've got to
Chad.
say it. Okay. Ask your doctor if Florisil is right for you.
That's exactly the thing I did in my head. I'm like, that sounds like Florisil would be a drug.
And then what's the other? Molawell?
Morlul.
Ask your doctor if Molawell is... No. Florisil is the prescription. Molawell is the Pokemon.
All right, so both of you are agreeing that Florisil is the prescription medication?
Yep.
You are both correct.
Yes!
Florisil
Yeah.
is... Look, I only remember it is like, it's a cream. I just remember it's a cream used for some skin shit.
Florisil.
That's something where I was walking around, it's like, oh, that looks like a Pokemon. Okay, I'll write it down. Morlul is like the little mushroom Pokemon. That,
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, it was. It came out in Sun and Moon. It was actually in Detective Pikachu as well. They're like the floating mushrooms. They're fairy grass. They kind of.
Oh,
you said mushroom. Okay. You said mushroom Pokemon, and I immediately thought of Toad for some reason. I'm like, that's not a Pokemon, Holden.
Hi, I'm a Pokemon.
Toad. Hello, catch me.
Okay. So I have one more round. So it's currently 2-1. 2-1.
You could tie it. You could tie it.
It's gonna be 3-1. Right. That's gonna be the ending score. It's gonna be 3-1.
All right. The last two. The first one is Mycardis. This Mycardis was in Turnback Cave. It's probably a thing.
Okay.
The last one is Carkol. Carkol. This Carkol looks like shit.
Can you say the first one again?
Mycardis.
Son of a bitch. Mycardis?
Mycardis.
Mycardis and Carkol. Like, Carkol sounds like if you were super, super nervous and you were lying to somebody about what your name was. Like, excuse me, the police pulls you over. Excuse me, sir. What's your name? Carkol?
Carkol for some reason reminds me of like what would be like a water type barnacle Pokemon for some reason.
Okay. Versus what was the other one again?
Like coral and barnacle kind of combined, like Carkol.
Okay.
The other one is Mycardis.
Mycardis.
And my Cardis sounds like it's gonna like help with something that I couldn't mention on the show because it'd be really embarrassing.
No, that drug ends with a different ending.
So I'm gonna say, what's the name of the first one again? McCardle?
My Cardis.
My Cardis. Okay, that's a prescription drug.
Mycardis.
All right.
Ask your doctor if Mycardis is right for you. Ask your doctor
Does
if
it sound
Carkle
right?
is right for you.
Yeah, my Cardis. It's got to be my Cardis.
I just caught a Mycardis. I just caught a Carkle. Carkle shouldn't be either one of these. Carkle should not exist. But I'm going to go with Carkle's the Pokemon. Mycardis is the prescription.
Got you. And sorry, hold on. Which one did you say was what?
I said the same thing as Chad. Well, he copied me.
Okay.
I copied.
Okay, so he copied you. Okay. So you actually are both correct.
Yes!
Woo!
My Cardis is actually blood pressure medication. It's nothing fancy.
Mycardis.
But Carkol is actually a new Pokemon. It just came out.
What is it? What does it look like? Or
Is it a
resemble?
barnacle water type Pokemon?
No, it's what Roly Poly evolves into.
Oh, okay. Oh, I've seen Cart. I got it. Okay.
How do you
Card,
spell
card
it?
is cart.
Yeah. It. Fuck. Carkol.
Carkle.
Like I was looking at it, I was like, that's a stupid way to spell Pokemon, but I'm not game freak. Who am I to
Oh,
judge?
like charcoal.
Yeah, but it's a Carkol.
Okay.
But it's like a cart with coal on top of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pokemon lazy in naming? No way. Geodude? That's crazy.
Oh, that's it. That's it. Good game. Good game on Game
Yeah.
Show.
Well,
That was
thank
honestly
you.
a lot harder than I thought it was going to be for me.
I'm amazed that you got all of them though.
I did. But
Actually, yeah, you did.
I knew I thought going into it, I was going to be like, yeah, I'm going to, at least half of these, I'm going to be like, fucking caught that in Pokemon Go. Caught that, but nope. Never heard of those in my life.
After you said Pokemon Go, I made sure to lower decide which ones I was going to choose.
Gotcha.
They'll allow them, the only one you may have recognized is, what, Weasel? Weasel's in Pokemon
Oh, yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
Good shit.
Yeah.
And that's it for Game on Game Show, and that is it for our show, our episode tonight. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Dusty, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. This is lots of fun. You'll
Where
probably
can-
get another question from me next week.
Yes, please. Where can people find you if they want to interact with you, send you Christmas gifts, egg your house, etc.?
Well, don't do the last one. You can find me on Twitter. I'm Dust E Hill, USTE Hill, HILL. My podcast, Prize Count, it's at Prize Count, and I'm on most, if not all, regular streaming platforms like iTunes, Google, Spotify, Switcher. I don't know. The other ones I don't really use.
All the ones
Stitcher.
that
You can
matter.
find me- yeah, you can find me there. It's currently on a hiatus, but towards the end of the year, which is in a month, I'll be
Right.
more free. I'm going to be going back, and I already have ideas and stuff I'm going to be talking about and doing. So you should go follow me there. I have a backlog of about 20 plus episodes, I think, at this point.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's me.
Cool. Thank you for joining us. If you would like to go to patreon.com/respawn aim fire for $1, you can get access to all the cool shit that we give you, including wallpapers, the ability to play with us, and influence what we play in our Barf Holden. Before the end of the night, we need to put up a poll for Barf.
Yes, well, you're
This
choosing
month-
the games.
Is it me choosing? I thought you were choosing both.
Yeah. No, I said to make it even for the year. I choose this month. You choose
Just
next month.
kidding. I will put that up then. For now, for this month, we're playing Undertale. Son of a bitch, when the fuck am I going to play that? I don't know. Stay
You don't have to
tuned.
sing at the end of the month, though.
Oh, I'm on vacation till the 30th. It's on my Vita, though. I'll play it on my Vita. Great. Awesome. Play
Hey,
along
Chad,
with us.
good job getting your stand goal. Just by the way, you got your stand goal right
I did.
now.
I technically got it 10 minutes ago. So,
You just told me. You've been sitting this whole time, but congratulations.
yeah.
Hey.
A, B, C, D. Until next time, here's our usual sign off. Kadoodaloo-daloo. Kadoodaloo-daloo.